got just heavily involved in the quest of entrepreneurship.
I got a Houston legend
Stop.
in the building. In the building, y'all. Like, oh my God, thank you for taking your time. We just get into a little bit of your story and background.
Ooh, how long do you have?
What skill sets did you bring in from the music business into your operations today?
Number one is grit. Like, you know, being built for this. Tay Powers, as I built as a musician, as a DJ, all of that. Like,
you guys can do similar things and still support each other. You know, Black women, I'm especially talking to y'all.
Being young, I was just like, oh, I don't know, you can bleep me out if you need to, but I was like, oh, I need to be a bitch.
There's too much beef in our spaces, music and technology, where people feel like, I'm going to tell you a secret.
Tell me a secret.
Before I moved to Houston, I was a DJ in Miami, and I used to always look up to your stuff because you were one of the people that were my role models.
Wow.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Brianna Flemings. We're back at the Content to Cash podcast, and I got a Houston legend in the building. In the building, y'all. Like, oh my God, thank you for taking your time to come out, because I know you be, y'all, she be on tour, she be in Africa, Europe, Mexico, here, and then you still have a brick and mortar business. Like,
man,
oh my gosh.
Man, you're not wrong. Here, there, and everywhere, and yeah.
And all in between. My good Pisces sis, we got Tay Powers in the building, y'all. Like, thank you for coming out. I'm going to tell you a secret.
Tell me a secret.
Before I moved to Houston, I was a DJ in Miami, and I used to always look up to your stuff because you were one of the people that were my role models.
Wow.
But your transitions and like the edits and the cuts, like I was like, oh my gosh, she's so fire.
That is so awesome.
So when we were able to get you to speak at the Afrotech mixer with Posh, it meant so much to me. I was so shy because I was like, oh my God, I rarely really meet people that really inspire me, because I don't feel like I always have to draw inspiration from somebody else. Like, it's usually a process I like more than people. But I was like, no, she's just so dope.
Wow.
Like, I was like, she is some up here. So then when I
found
you were Pisces, exactly, I was like, she gotta be off somewhere. Yeah. So like, when I found you were a Pisces, I was like, oh man,
you know us,
my Pisces,
man. That means a lot.
Yes.
More than you even know.
Yes. You inspire a lot of creatives in Miami. So when Flavor booked y'all, because I was like, in that discussion at some point, I was like, I love her. Like, she's going to be so dope. You know, I lived 30 minutes from West Palm. And it was my homegirl Lex that told me she was able to get you booked, and I was like, man, we just had her on the Afrotech thing, but like, she's so fire.
We had a time too.
Yes, I know. I was trying to go out for that, but it was like right around the time I was doing a bunch of stuff. But I was so excited because like, we need more Black female DJs in Florida in general. Like, so it was nice that you were even there and just got to really show out. So
it was cool.
Man, shout out to Flavor
shout out
well. But man, for those who don't know, or maybe don't know all that you do, like, can we just get into a little bit of your story and background?
Ooh, how long do you have?
Look, for you, I booked the day for you, but we only got like 40 minutes because, you know, you got things to do.
To give you the Cliff's Notes version, originally born in Alabama, but raised in Houston. I'm a musician, performer, DJ, as my background. Went to school in New York, did the thing in like music on the music business side for quite a while, and went from New York to LA. Then between LA and actually coming back here, again, I've always been a creative, always been a musician. Got just heavily involved in, you know, the quest of entrepreneurship, also in tech, and trying to think about how do I blend all of my worlds for common good, really. And so moved back to Houston. That's a crazy story in its own of how I got back to Houston, but I really feel like God placed me back here. And I really felt like it was time for people to just see that Houston has an amazing talent pool and amazing artists. There's so much here that goes untapped. And so I was like, okay, how can I put all of these things together, not only create an ecosystem like digitally, which we're working on, but a place and a space for all mediums of creativity to be expressed, and to be able to put some of these creatives on. And so with large brands, small brands, like figuring out a way, whether that's through activations or through content, to be able to bridge that gap, very similarly to what the amazing work that you're doing. And that's what I've been focused on the past 3 years, and still being a musician, producer, DJ, not even on the side, but as my actual career.
No,
so
as your actual career. And this is just a reminder, y'all, that you guys can do similar things and still support each other. Black women, I'm especially talking to y'all. And Black people, I'm especially talking to y'all, because there's too much beef in our spaces, music and technology, where people feel like, oh, they're doing something similar, I'm not going to work with them. Or I knew you were doing something similar, and I still asked you to speak, because there can be many
there's room for all of us.
And also, we're not covering every sector. I do agree that Houston is one of the most untapped spaces. Big cities, a big city at that, with so much untapped talent.
About to be the third largest city in
that's
the
what Georgia
States.
said.
And you think of creatives, you think of just the two coasts. Think of, New York and LA. And so there's so much for us to do.
And we need to put some stuff together for sure, because I believe if our minds come together, we can do some things. Because just like I was saying to Jordan, I came here with respect for Houston creatives. I never came here trying to take something over and take away from people. I'm only here to add, as I've always done. I was born in Atlanta, and I grew up split between Delaware and Philly. That's basically Katy to here. For perspective. And I have a lot of family from New York, and then I have a lot of family from New Orleans. So it's always been interesting to see how fast the East Coast is versus the South.
Oh, absolutely.
And my goal was to bring more speed here, because I noticed that that's a huge gap, is the speed to execute, right?
It's such a big gap. But also, I realized this, I was in a meeting yesterday. Sometimes these creatives or entrepreneurs, is like the speed gap is amongst like all, I want to say, of the not even say workflow, like work sectors, kind of here in the South. And you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so when you get into these other environments and it becomes this iron sharpens iron, and you realize how much you have to level up. That's when you're like, oh, snap. You know what? I had this client come in. I need to turn this deliverable in by the end of day. Not even by tomorrow, by end of day, or somebody else might come in and a lot of people aren't experiencing that here. And so I think it's just important, as larger brands come in, activations, World Cup is coming, here. That
DreamCon. Right after that.
Shout out to DreamCon. Shout out to my boy John over there. Huge Afrotech. Huge things are coming. And one of the issues that I'm seeing is they're bringing in their vendors, their talent, their creatives from other cities, because they execute the way that they need them to execute. And what we have to do is show, like, hey, we can do it too at the same level. But it does require getting in the gym. Getting in, putting the reps in.
Look, and speaking of reps, as I've done my research, and I'm like, dang, she's done so many different things. But I remember reflecting and seeing a post. You was in New York. You was in a studio, and you were just reflecting on like a lot of your past, and like just leading up to where you are today. It was also kind of me seeing your story leading up to Emergent, and then also leading up to Studio 808. But let's take it back to New York. When you moved to New York, you left your hometown. You know what I'm saying? Like, you left your hometown, which I always encourage people to take the time to leave your hometown. You can always come back when you feel like you're aligned there. But me personally, I'm letting y'all know in the 302, I'm never coming back to Delaware. But I would go back at a certain time to show love to Philly. For sure. Philly really brought the hustle to me.
I mean, Philly, I hope I don't get any shade for this, but I really feel like it's the new York.
It
like,
is.
It is
some micro New York, because it's like we're right there. We're an hour and a half away, but we also have the affordability to live in a city that feels close enough to that. But then we have our own, verbiage and space and ecosystem. Philly is cold. That's like, even when I came here and people was like, oh, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm still from up north. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still a scoper of things, but and I still am an executor. but I'm also very intentional because that's Philly culture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things we do is very intentional, even in relation to New York, that's faster.
Mm-hmm.
So coming from the South, right? Mm-hmm. And then moving to somewhere as fast as New York, you know, what was that like for you?
Oh man, it almost feels like a lifetime ago, even though I spent, I'll say, my formative years there. I moved there at 17. And I was just, I don't want to say I was a deer in headlights, because I had a time. I learned, I hustled. I feel like I really built who I am now in New York, and that set my foundation, even though I'm from here. Like Houston, the South is my roots, but New York is like my foundation.
Yeah.
And when I got there were some moments that were a rude awakening, in the sense of certain people not having manners, and
right.
you know, thinking people would be chivalrous and open doors, and you know, I thought that was
let that door slam.
Okay, a quick sidebar. I remember this like yesterday, the very first time I was like, oh, I'm in New York. I was going, and I started my like music business career interning at Atlantic Records. And I was going in for my first day. I was so hype. I thought I was cute. I was just like, yeah, I think I just turned 18. And I'm walking to the door thinking I'm like strutting in, almost Devil's Wears Prada, feeling like I'm doing it. And this group of guys, like young Black guys, come right in front of me and like rush to the door in front of me. And I was like, oh, they're coming to open the door for me. And just, when I tell you that door slammed right in my face, I was just like, oh, okay, you know. And New York, like having to get that different grit, the hustle. It was an interesting experience. I will say, now that I'm older, I realized there was like kind of a pendulum swing that happened to me. And I think this is something I'd love to talk about more, you know, in another time. But I kind of overcompensated for my Southern nature at first. Being young, I was just like, oh, I don't know, you can bleep me out if you need to, but I was like, oh, I need to be a bitch.
Oh, we cuss around here.
Okay, cool. I was like, I'm seeing, you know, I'm interning for Julie Greenwald, who is the COO of Atlantic Records. I'm interning and seeing, you know, the top women in the music industry, and realizing how they don't take any shit. They, you know, they are just not only forces to be reckoned with, but I'll say they are pit bulls, really. And I was thinking like, oh, that's who I have to become in order to make it. And I'll say, in the old industry, that might have been the case, but you see the new guard, the old guard is falling. It's changing. So there was a time where I was just like, oh, you're not gonna catch me. I gotta kind of put that hard East Coast, you know, persona on in a way. Again, I was young, 17, 18. I just kind of was like, this is what I got to do to make it. And then over time, realizing like my gift, and one of the blessings that I have is, yes, I understand the industry. I understand how it works. I can hustle like you, but I can still be me. I can still be caring. I can still want the best for, whether it's the artists, the creatives, my clients, and it come from a space that's not just so not all about me. You know? And I think that was, it took some learning. It took some growing and being in different situations, and really thinking, as I'm seeing certain people who might be at the top of the industry, I'm like, is that who I want to be? Like 20, 30, whatever years from now, is this the life that I want? And I was like, you know what? That's not it. So I'm just going to create something new and build it from authenticity. And that was a lesson.
And that's what it gives online. It's very intentional. It's very authentic. Like it gives very you. Like you have your own sense of style. So when it comes to the music industry, because I'm sure aspiring artists, people breaking records, even aspiring DJs, like, you know, the world's different. The world is much different. Now, do you feel like we have an advantage nowadays versus what we had in the past? What do you think are pros versus the cons?
It's difficult because now there's a formula to going viral. You can probably, you know, you try enough times, something you do is going to pop.
Repetitively.
Right? But a lot of stuff is a lot more flash in the pan now. It's so quick. Even I'll say even 5 years ago, something going viral could, or even when I kind of popped and went viral, some of those moments can be sustainable and lead to a real uptick in your career. Now I feel like you see people, they're going viral and they're still working a 9 to 5 making minimum wage.
Yeah.
And I think because a lot of our not only content consumption is just it moves so quick now that the strategy has to be different around it. I think if we go back even further than that, the old school, of course, sending your demo tapes in or being in the club every day and building this community that's underground and people only know, oh, you got to hear this DJ at Beauty and Essex in New York. Like, it was a lot more organic when it comes to at least DJ culture. And then I'll say for the music business, it was based on the machine.
Right.
It was based on them believing in you, them investing in you. So it's, again, back to that pendulum swing. I don't say one is easier than the other. But I think now, personally, for me, when I think about the state of content, the industry, all of that, it's a lot of white noise.
Yeah.
It's so much to cut through the white noise and to do it consistently.
Yeah.
You have to be different. And that's not a gimmick. Like, you have to be so different and be able to like nail it all the time. And so I think that's really what I feel is different now. And not one thing being harder than the other. It's just we're coming into a whole new world. I still don't know what it fully looks like. I just experiment and try shit.
And that's what you have to do. And it also sounds like to me, you know, now is the time to be more intentional than ever, because if you want to build an actual audience and an actual fan base, like, you have to be intentional.
Yeah.
Because it's even like that, you know, even in the app space.
Right.
It's easier nowadays to build an app than it ever was before.
Or it's called Rested or something.
There's so many Bubble. There's
this is not an app for Bubble.
Lovable, Base 66. Like, there's so many tools that are basically open AI wrappers around something where you could prompt it and build it out the way you like. But now there's even more competition. However, my biggest thing I've always tell people is now it has lowered the barrier for Black people to get in technology, though, because instead of being, you know, the customer, you can actually be the product owner. You can be the builder. And this is a time for us to really leverage AI in a way that we need to kind of create our own tape.
Right.
You know,
if you have a good idea and community, you don't need them.
Yeah.
Like, you really don't.
Yeah.
It's like, I think about the Tyler Perry model, and people might, you know, shit on Tyler Perry, but he worked that chitlin circuit. He built up his fan base.
He was homeless.
Like, but he went from homeless to also, he brought Medea, the concept, to the studios, and they were like, wait, what is this? Huh? And they were not fucking with it. And then he said, okay, bet, I'm going to do it on my own. But he did it on I don't want to say the backs of, but he did it with the support of his community. And if you have community, you literally have everything. Yeah. And so with us, we know how to do that. Right. We know how to get a community and put some things together and make it cool.
And I think that's what stands out about Houston versus Miami. So the white noise part that you talked about, even down to event producers out there, it's a lot of white noise too. You know, as someone who DJ'd for at least 70% of the Black side of Miami, you know, shout out to Opelika, shout out to Overtown, shout out to Miami Gardens, like my North Miami Beach. You know, I used to DJ a lot in those spaces, but the events would come and go because a lot of people were doing the same thing. Right. You know, and it's like the same people coming out. You're almost expecting the same at the bar. Like, nothing really changed. What I like about Houston is the eclecticism here as well. I like the community building here. I like the consistency, even down to the DJs and the artists here are so much different. It does really feel untapped because when I visited here, I was like, I'm moving. I'm out. I got here 3 months after I decided I didn't play no games. I booked up the rest of my time. I built up some more tech clients. I saved $12,000 in 12 weeks. I did not play. I was out. Gosh. I was out of there. I said, I'm getting to Houston, you know, and my dad had passed, you know, so it was like, but I say it's to say for people that especially are experiencing hardship, you know, you can still find good in this, you know, you could really find good in this. It was time for me to rewrite my story. I'm in the midst of watching you kind of rewrite write your own. I see that you're in technology as well.
Yeah.
I've seen you speak, you know, at different panels on the tech spaces. I see that you're building not just your own, you know, spot, like, you know, which is Studio 808, but I also see that you're digitally showing yourself more behind the scenes in the operations. Right. And I think that's so dope. Now, when you started Studio 808, which y'all need to check it out for real. Y'all need to check it out. Why did you start Studio 808?
That's a good question. You know, well, Studio 808 is actually our second undertaking. Our first one was off of Robert Street, and it was just by the name of our parent company, Emergent and Co. is in the East End. And the idea was really to build community in Houston around all of the different art disciplines. So from visual art to us, you know, having our podcast space, to having a recording studio, to being a venue for, you know, being able to put on the types of things that I want to see here in Houston, like physically in the space, but also showcase the artists that I feel are overlooked. Yeah. From all different types of disciplines. So whether that's we're having an all female, all queer kind of dance night, we had like a ballroom night at the old spot, to, you know, podcast being about, you know, Black chefs, to you know, just also the art that's in each of these spaces. We were really intentional about that, and I truly felt like being brought back to Houston, it was important that I brought my industry experience back here and just like I say, edifying the community here. And I understand also that untapped resource, there's a lot of money to be made for us, for this creative, everybody can eat. Yep. I also know the importance of building, like I said, building actual community. Yeah. And digital is great. You can have a digital following and people that might come out to your shows or whatever. Yeah. But when you have something that's real, that's something that you can't replicate.
110%. Yeah. A carbon copy will not work. Yeah. It will not work, especially down here.
Yeah. And so 808 was our second spot, now downtown Houston. Different concept, open concept. And it was really it was the same idea, a place where, you know, we can showcase creativity, but we can also create as well. Right. So we have our now, Emergent and Co., our production house. Studio 808 is now, we're considering our creative campus, because we now have multiple different locations or different environments, different spaces in the same building. And so, yeah, it's exciting. We'll be launching that, rolling that out in the next like month or so. So this is like some tea.
Oh, please, if you guys are having a launch party, please have me there.
Yes, come on.
Yes, I want to see the extension of that. That sounds really dope. And even the building that you decided, the Emergent building, like that was a really nice selection. Like honestly, I ended up going in there. Yeah, I was like, oh,
I know, because I didn't even get to see you when you came in.
Yeah, it was me and like 3 other people, and I was like, we all was like, what the hell? This is nice as hell. Like, so you're still doing your thing, right? Yeah, in your career, you are one of the few creative entrepreneurs that I really get to sit down with that actually is full-time, right? You know, there's nothing wrong with the creatives that still have to, absolutely, you know, rock a 9 to 5, but we have to highlight, you know, the systems that are in place, right? Now, as you being a creative entrepreneur, I see that you have multiple businesses. Did you at some point feel, maybe in the beginning when you went from maybe DJ to like, you know, even start an Emergent, that people didn't take you as serious because you were a DJ?
That's a good question. I'll be honest, I didn't think about that. I think if I needed other people's funds, then yes, I could have thought about that. At the time, you know, we bootstrapped everything ourselves, and I wouldn't advise people to do that. Of course, you know, again, on the tech side, you do the family and friends round, you put your own capital in, you do all that other stuff. we honestly haven't really done any of that.
Really? So this is all coming straight out of y'all pocket.
Yeah. It's me and Will. Like,
you know what? You took the risk.
Yeah. You said what?
You took the risk.
Oh, we did. And we've learned a lot, but now we're so deep in it. It was just like, okay. And honestly, seeing that return now and that's what, not to say what makes it worth it. We love the space and seeing how it affects other people's lives, but realizing that I don't have anybody to pay back, after paying myself back, after paying my partner back. So we didn't have to kind of do this song and dance of this is why you should take me seriously,
right?
Because there was no one to kind of showcase being like, this is why you need to work with us, work with me. I also think, being in the industry and some of the cachet that I have from even also working on the business side of things has helped. Has helped a lot for when, like, whether it's clients or rentals or the curators coming in. But I do totally understand why, some other people would think, okay, I'm just a DJ, or she's just you get that. That's actually one of my pet peeves sometimes when people are like, oh yeah, that's the girl that's the DJ. I'm like, I do this, I do that. I'm like, I went to NYU, like, I'm just like, hold on. But I also realize people only know what you show. So
yes.
Now that's why I'm showing more.
Yes. And that makes sense. A good friend of mine who's in the PR world, she helps me with strategies. Shout out to you, Joe. Shout out to Joe.
Shout out to you, Joe.
And she straight up told me, she was like, people only know what they see. How can you be mad at them only knowing what they see? So I definitely understand that, which is why I like the series that you're doing. Yeah. Because you're really showing the behind the scenes.
That's awesome.
I hope you continue doing that. Because that brings me to my next question. Number one, what skill sets did you bring in from the music business into your operations today?
For me, number one is grit. Like, being built for this, like the resilience, this is like the third, fourth, fifth iteration of trying to build something similar to this. Like you saw in one of the clips I put out, lost a lot of money, well, a lot to me because it was my own money. Just
hey, I lost $48,000 in real estate. I understand.
Girl,
my money, so I get it.
And so from losing the money to changing locations to doing all of that, it takes having a solid vision and not only self-worth, but knowledge of yourself to be like, all right, one little setback, I'm gonna bounce back and do it again.
Right.
And do it bigger and do it better, and kind of having that audacity, a little bit of audacity, a little bit of gall. But that's like for making it through these times. But when it comes to the daily operations, I want to say now, coming from the music industry, even working, I was like a junior A&R for a minute, being able to be discerning with who I'm around. Yeah. And who I'm like investing my time in and who's a part of my team and seeing their talents. I will say, I think that's one of the things I will say I'm good at is peeping talent and trying to foster more of that in my team and saying, I hope that answers the question, but I think I got a lot
and
of
it's
that
actually it's real because grit, audacity, discernment, these are things that a lot of creators don't have. I'm be honest. As someone that now has this platform with 30 million influencers on it, I view a lot of things because I have to pinpoint where creators are having the toughest problems right now. And a really tough problem that creatives are having on my platform is that they're not salespeople.
Because they don't realize they're businesses. They don't. I learned that early on, and it's still a struggle for me personally, to realize like, oh, Tay Powers is a business. Yeah. My real name, Taylor Barner, is the person. Yeah. But Tay Powers, as I built as a musician, as a DJ, all of that, like there has to be strategy around that. along with, the Emergent, along with 808. And a lot of artists are just like, oh, I'm going to put my stuff out. Y'all should just pay me. And why am I not the hottest thing out? Like, you have to really not only put the work and the effort into it, but think of yourself as a brand and business.
And the strategy. This is why I fuck with Lil Russell.
Oh, heck yeah. I love him so much.
Because he is so damn strategic.
Girl.
And he's not like the flyest of the flyers.
Not the flyest. The music is cool. You know what I mean? Like, he don't have no hits. Yeah. But he is a hit.
Exactly. Him himself is a hit. He's strategic. He's a businessman. Like, he's a storyteller.
Yeah.
He's a storyteller too.
And I'll be honest, I still need to do more research into his story arc and his how. But a lot of what I think about for myself now, and I'm finally putting my content back out, is showing like Lil Russell is the artist, but you also know he's the CEO. You also know that he's building his team out and doing his live events. You know that he's
in the backyard of his parents' house.
Right. Using what you got to get where you want to go. And I think he's a great example of that. And even down to like, I got onto him when I was really heavy into like Web3 blockchain space, and him building out his own like tokenization. It kind of was a DAO a little bit, like for his company, Good Company, and where anybody that's bought into it gets a token. And I thought that was really, really cool. And he has blended music, tech, community, even philanthropy. And I was just like, that's how you have to win now. You also have to show your work and show the process.
Because you're giving back. Yeah. You know, you're also seeing a return. You're team building. Right. You know, you're also, it's not even like he's like from this very popular part of the Bay. I didn't even know what Vallejo was until he put them on the map and gave back. And it's so interesting to me because, like, I'm just now about to go back to Delaware next month to I'm helping with this AI conference in Delaware at the POW Center, which is the Police Athletic League. Okay. And that's my way of giving back. I'm not charging them because I'm like, you know, Delaware needs to understand technology more, you know, so I would love to continue giving back to Delaware, Philly, you know, this is where I grew up. So it was so interesting to see him do that because that's how you really build a fan base too. Yeah. And that's why I fuck with you so heavy because I'm seeing that here. You know what I'm saying? Wow. I'm seeing now that I'm seeing the storytelling series come out, I'm like, this is how I'm like,
what's wild is like, I love that you said that because I haven't even planned for it to be a series. I was just like, I just need to start telling people what I'm really doing. Because a lot of people were like, oh, I didn't know you, like the people that don't know me here, that just see me on, thank you, on socials, they're like, oh, I didn't know that you have a production company. I didn't know that you have a space.
Because they're only seeing the mixes.
They're only seeing the mixes. They're only seeing my flyers or performing or being on stage or being on tour. And maybe that's really only what's coming up in their algorithm. Yeah. And they didn't realize that, this is why you haven't seen me post a new, a new mix in a minute because I'm over here putting out 20,000 fires over here in the physical space that are taking over tens of thousands of square feet. Yep. And I realized, I was like, okay, you know what? If I'm not showing me being on a stage of 20,000 people, y'all got to see what I'm doing in the meantime, which is, this is actually what I'm going through on a day-to-day, Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday, if I'm not on a stage. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, you know what? Again, going back to people only know what you show. Hey, the stuff that I've been through, maybe it's going to help my peers. Maybe it's going to help the next little Tay.
And the thing is, relatability sells. You know, when they see like you and Maya, you know what I'm saying, or you and another celebrity artist or musician, or they see you on the big stages and stuff, it's not as relatable to the small DJs or the creators because they only aspire to get there, but they're not. If they're not there yet, then it's just an aspiration. Right. You know, and that makes you the inspiration. But then to hear, I'm going through some shit too.
Yeah.
And it's not all glitz and glamour. The grass is not always green on the other side, but it's still, I'm still doing it.
Right.
The grit, the discernment, that's when it's more relatable, because you don't have to be famous to still have these things. You don't have to be a millionaire to start having grit and discernment now, so that's what I love about it, because me being in the intersection of all of this, creator economy, tech, product, and marketing, is the reason why I started this, because it's like relatability is there.
Yeah.
And people have to know, okay, you know what, if Tay can show this and is showing these things, how can I also learn? One thing that stood out to me is you said, get your paperwork right.
Ooh, girl. Yes.
Because I was like, get your paperwork right.
Listen, because I know people that have some brands, that have other things. Y'all don't have an LLC, you don't have anything trademarked, you don't have so somebody real quick, whether it's IRS or a hater can come through and crash your shit real quick
right away.
And so from that to the leases, and I just learned so much from not only verbal agreements, but one of the issues that I think maybe not only Houston creatives, but people down here might experience is we believe people at face value. And I learned you can't do that.
Look,
we believe you say you're going to do what you're going to do. And I still, in my heart, I still want to believe that you're going to do what you say you're going to do.
So since you're going to do it,
right,
go ahead and sign.
That's it.
I'll see you next Tuesday.
And if you feel some pushback to, I don't want to sign that, or why do we have an agreement? Then that should be your red flag right there. That should be not even a yellow flag. That should be alarm bells going off. And especially if the agreement is amenable, it's fair. If they don't want to sign something, don't fuck with them.
Bye. Yeah. Because I literally I have a few friends that are born and raised or just raised here in Houston, that I be telling them like, so, well, hey girl, like, don't forget to do this, and they're like, oh no, I'm like, hey, don't nobody got you but God.
Right.
So
that's real.
So make sure you have this together, because I got fucked over so many times in the tech space doing the same shit.
Absolutely. And when shit hits the fan,
investor, or thinking like I'm about to be on that stage, or thinking I'm about to have that partnership.
Right.
And by face value, I'm like, okay, they said they're going to do this. I'm going to circle back with them. And next thing you know, they on a whole new thing.
Absolutely.
And it's like, all right, well, there was no agreement put in place.
Right.
But just put it in place, y'all, please.
Even if it's an MOU, like we're really good about that memorandum of understanding. I don't know which camera to look at, but just do a quick little get on chat, Claude, whatever. I wouldn't use Grok.
Shoot. Lawyer, something. Rocket Lawyer, please sponsor this.
A quick little MOU. This is what we're thinking about, and we can amend it in the next 30 days or whenever either party wants to amend it, just to be like, this is what we've talked about.
Right.
And, the music industry, real quick, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, man, I can get you this. Oh, if you do this, I'm going to get you this deal. I can have you on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe it until it's written.
Yep.
Just, you'd be like, okay, great. That sounds
And if an agreement challenges your friendship, your partnership, your business partner, whatever it is, if that's what's challenging, then that says a lot. Because when I agree to something and someone say, okay, well, let me send over this agreement, I'm so quick. I'm like, yeah, send over. I want to review it. Because also on the other side, review the agreement to make sure that you guys are on the same terms. But there's been a few past friends and past partnerships where I say, okay, I'm going to send the agreement over. And they're like, oh, like, why are you acting funny?
Right. And I think that's a thing in our community too.
Yeah. Because this isn't a white people issue.
Yeah.
Not because I have some white cousins and they don't have no problems with it. White in-laws be telling me all the things. Like I when I lived in Fort Lauderdale, I was around a lot of Jewish people, and they genuinely have a great understanding of each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But down here, and even when I lived in Atlanta and spent a lot of time out there back and forth, Miami, Philly, it's always like this.
I mean, put the terms, put the scope of work, keep it cute, where you can be simple, but and then if somebody doesn't even want to do that, then how do you trust them to actually see the project through or whatever you're doing?
Because this is keeping us both accountable.
And that means, okay, or you just don't want to read the agreement. Okay,
right.
If you don't want to read, then that means you just don't want to put in the work.
Right.
Like,
because the first thing I don't want to ever do is have a partnership with someone who can't read.
High key.
High key. And
reading is fundamental.
I beg.
You know?
You mentioned something about trust. When you started Studio 808, I can only imagine how many people have wanted to get the free for an event, get the discount.
Yeah.
This. Yeah. How have you navigated, people maybe undervaluing your work?
That's 1,000%. It's something we deal with daily. Now we have a partnership playbook that we've put together of like pretty much a scorecard. Because if it's somebody asking, every day we get inquiries from people that are well-meaning. You might be a homie, might be a friend of a friend that, you have something going on that you think is, hey, this is such a great cause. But great causes need to have impact, need to have reach. And if you're not doing the work to find, not that you have to find a sponsor for the whole thing, but to have some skin in the game, because at the end of the day, we have bills to pay. I have to keep my lights on. I have staff to pay. None of this is free. Like, I don't know why people think it's free.
They think that this is
none of this is free. And to be honest, right now we're still building up. This is not what's I'm not making hand over fist from this. Like right now we're building our team out. Yep. We're making sure that everyone feels valued. And so if I keep being asked to do stuff for free, I'm gonna be out on the streets.
Yep.
And so now we're putting in systems in place to be like, hey, okay, do you have this? Do you what, not even about your following, but what is your plan? Are you gonna bring in videographers and content? Are you gonna market it? Are you gonna have ad spend? Things like that, to where we see, okay, this has to be beneficial on both sides, not just us, spending money because it sounds good. And it's fine. Like, there are moments where, okay, this might just be a break even thing, but it's something that aligns with our values, and it's something that's going to like benefit not only all parties, but whoever's coming here. Rising tide lifts all boats. It needs to be something that, whether it's people coming in for the experience, our staff, us, the space, it checks all the boxes.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's
and so,
real.
But all the time I get, hey, I just want to throw this. And at this point now, I will tell everybody, hey, this is what you're going to have to negotiate. This is what the rates are. And if you're trying to say, all right, well, can you work with me? This is the baseline. Where are you trying to go to? But I'm not going to just be like, yeah, anybody and their mama can come and do something for free.
And look, because that's another issue in our community.
Yeah.
And that's not even just here in Houston.
Yeah.
It's a global Black issue.
Right.
People,
right.
Please be fair. Because I
support your people.
Support your people. And if you don't have the money, right, then yes, get on a general consensus of how y'all can really work. But don't be disappointed if the answer is no. No.
And it's no shade, because it's like, I can have friends and people that I'm like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I support you. Come back when either you have a partner that can come into this with you, or like, let's revisit this as you build it.
Yeah.
And I'll still give you insights and all of that. But right now, it needs to make sense. Still love you, but it got to make sense.
And to give perspective, right? When I moved down here, I immediately had fell in love with Ball Kitty, right?
I love that.
It just made sense.
Yeah.
And as well as a couple other venues, but I knew I couldn't afford it. So just to give y'all a playbook of what I did as a founder, that was at the time in between raising and bootstrapping, because I had to bootstrap my way through until the raise was done.
Absolutely.
Right? So I didn't have the funds to run out Ball Kitty during Afrotech.
Girl, I was wondering how you did this. I actually know.
You know what I'm saying? So what I did, y'all, was I pitched a bunch of brands that aligned with Gem Social to sponsor the Afrotech event, because I already knew I was going to bring out a lot of attendees. I already knew I was going to bring out investors. I already knew I was going to bring out creatives because of the positioning Gem Social had. All I needed was the money.
Right.
Posh came in and sponsored our event and paid for the entire one. They had to have more branding on there. That was the agreement, and that was understandable. But Gem was still on there, Posh is still on there, and we had to use and leverage their technology. Yeah. That was my first time ever having something like that in Houston. I was not from Houston. I had not even lived here for a year. So if I could do that, y'all can do the same thing too, because I did not discount any venue, and they valued the event. It was a great event. There was some things that I took feedback on, such as like making sure the mics were working, little things.
That's all good,
but it still was a great grounding point for me as a baseline, you know? So I say, if I could do that, y'all can do that, you know, think of ways and plan around it, because I started planning for this in August, you know, and
that's the thing. We don't start early enough.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, I want to do this in 2 weeks. Like, hey, can you do this? Oh, I got this thing coming up. Like, what? You know, and I'm not going to say I'm absolving myself of any guilt, because I have done it. And that's why I'm working to you know, to be, you know, just to prevent and to, people need to, and sponsors, they have to plan out their budgets, they have to plan out their calendars. I am curious though. So for you doing your outreach, like, how did you find your sponsor? You were on LinkedIn, or you knew somebody?
Just like you. I had and relationships, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I did have a specific playbook that one of my investors taught me on, you know, learning how to like align for partnerships. And I'm like, okay, well, how can this align with Posh? One, we do have creatives amongst a bunch of other event producers on here. So I had led with data. Like I said, hey, you know, out of all the people on here, brand wise, we have this percentage on here that are event producers.
Yeah.
And you want more event producers on here. So why don't we have a panel with the dopest event producers on there? Because guess who's going to want to come out? Event producers. Event producers that are growing are going to want to come out and listen to the Tay Powers or the guy that throw the Keith from Sold Out Days.
Keith's you know, crazy.
And like he went crazy. He just did 2.3 million, I think it was. So it's just like, you know, people want to hear this from people like yourself because y'all are successful and you guys actually have the knowledge to lead a panel like that. So
just putting the deck together.
It was alignment. You have to make sure you can't just be reaching out to a sponsor and there's no alignment because they're like, well, why would we sponsor this?
And it has to affect their ROI. Like,
and we took a lot off their back. I went to the venues for them. I'm already down here. I didn't ask them to come from New York. Their home base is in New York, right? So I didn't have them come back and forth. I did all the venue scouting and got back to them. I did the negotiation. I made sure that we did a lift. I said, if you guys just do the low lift of handling it monetary, then I will do the heavy lift of venue sourcing, you know, making sure that the vibe is right for both parties, getting it out there. I made sure we got on the Afrotech list. I submitted us to Xbox and all kinds of other stuff to ensure that we had a packed out place, right? I did the heavy lifting. So, and that's another thing, like making sure that it makes sense for them, because nowadays I wouldn't mind sponsoring something if you guys do all the heavy lifting, right?
Please. You know? Passive. Like, you know.
So that's how I had went about it. And they were the third sponsor who got back to me and said yes. But I moved forward with them because I was like, this aligns the most. And I'll use these other two for other events, you know. But nowadays there's sponsorship technologies. There's so many technologies out here that pair up the person who's producing the event, and then they have thousands and, you know, tens of thousands of brands that are ready to deploy nowadays. So I'll definitely share those over for sure. Shout out to Plain Sight. Shout out to James. James has that platform.
Hey, James.
Plain Sight is a platform that connects event producers to sponsors. So and maybe that could be something, right? For the people that can't afford you, right? Or in your place. Maybe you could send that off to them. Like maybe you could connect with them. You know what I'm saying? We all helping each other. We can all help each other facilitate that. So as we're parting, it's 2026, it's January as we're recording this. I can only imagine what kind of things you have come up for yourself. But my biggest thing I want to ask you, as we reflect, is what systems didn't you have in place in 2025 that you're going to put in place this year to help you scale?
I mean, honestly, there's so many, but literally workflows for every little thing, everything. Because the thing is, it's like, you know, what I'm learning, our team is lean, but there's 13 of us besides my partner and I. So 15 actually, but it's lean. But if somebody falls off the face of the earth, which I don't think any of them will, but if something happens, I need to be able to keep this ball rolling. We need to be able to keep it going. So that means even for our production to like, where the camera's being set up, where are they being charged, where the deliverables being stored, how are they getting to the clients, how are we putting it out on social media. I'm talking about down to the smallest little thing. We are creating workflows that anybody can come into a position open up a book, open up a manual, see a picture, and know how to do it. And a lot of this came from specifically, like, for instance, audio. I'm the audio person still on our team, because that's what I do. But we're bringing on another audio tech person, because it can't be if I'm on the road or I'm doing something and a speaker goes out or a cord is, messed up, that y'all don't know where to go get extra XLR from, or you don't know. So you're saying which one, but my thing has been down to like every little detail, and it's tedious work, but it's gonna make it such a machine to where it's like I don't have to worry about, from events happening to production. Like, the bar is I want to say it's almost like human automation. And that's what we're focused on right now.
And I think that's so big, especially for the people that have this, like, brick and mortar spaces. Even though this co-working space, they have a system here where you can come in here and you can record yourself. They don't even need a producer. So they built this scalable solution at a co-working space to upsell people or to bring in new leads. But in the same breath, you don't have to have production experience or anything. You just come in here and this mouse.
Wow.
In and out.
And I'm sure they tell you in a step-by-step, this is what you do. Boom. And then you can refer back to it. And it makes their costs lower too, because they don't have somebody here having to produce you.
Exactly. And then even me, like, I build systems too. Like, even the back and forth emailing was not me.
Oh, I love that.
I built a podcast, a booking agent. And I'm like still testing it out. Like, okay, I wanted to ask this and this and this. Shout out to Zapier.
I was about to say it was Zapier, huh?
Shout out to Zapier.
Honestly, our booking has been through, like, our event space booking right now. It's like, hey, if anybody has an inquiry, I built that out to where it's like you say, hey, I want to book, or I have questions. It's going to ask you down to the detail. How many people, what time, do you need a bar? Do you need talent? Do you need DJs? Do you need videographers? Do you need
qualifying?
I went through all of those same questions, and then it's going to go to whether it's our invoicing platform or an estimate or booking for a tour. And so, man, Zapier has been the truth. And you get the email in like immediately of, hey, thank you for your inquiry. And, this is what you say you want to do. Like, when do you want to
back to them?
Right.
I love that. I love creative technology. And that's where I'm seeing the people that are winning are, especially in the creative economy, are the ones that are also solidly learn how to be a system architect and a technologist at the same time. Creators, learn how to build systems that can work for you and help you scale. We are sitting here with a motherfucking legend. And she dropped a lot of gems in 50 minutes. So I hope y'all listen to this over and over again. Tay, it is such a pleasure.
So awesome.
And I did tell everyone that is going to be on this podcast in January, I will be bringing y'all back because I want to reflect on the year. In December, I'm going to have a reflection moment. It'll either be at the end of November or December based off of y'all's schedule. But I'm going to hold all of y'all accountable. I'm going to come back and ask about your systems. I'm going to ask about, your systems, your discernment, all the things that, you've learned from 2025 into 2026. But thank you for just coming. Where can we find not just you, your personal brand, but also your business?
Absolutely. All platforms, Instagram, Emergent and Co. or Studio 808. 8 is spelled out, EIGHT 08. Our website, emergentandco.com, studio808.co. .co. So
All right. And I can't wait to go to the launch party.
Yes. Come on. It'll be time.
Thank you for coming on and taking the time, for real. And I just look forward to seeing everything you're doing this year. And even though you didn't think it was so serious, girls, it's serious to me. So please keep posting.
It might be. It's a series now.
Look, it is.
All right, lessons I learned. The series.
Look, keep watching her lessons, y'all, so that y'all don't have to make the same mistakes. This is the whole point of being real, with your audience. So please tap into Tay Powers. Make sure y'all check out her business and just show love, y'all. If nothing else, love is free.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Catch y'all later.
Peace.